So we all knew about the boys becoming Girl Scouts, but now girls can be Boy Scouts. Really? Well, we'll talk about that more on Bible News Radio starting right now.
So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
Here I am on the other side of the radio. Wondering why I'm here and why anybody cares what I say.
That's a good question.
No, I'm not a better man because I'm singing the songs
Or am
on
I?
the radio.
Am I, man? Just curious. No.
Because we're all the same at the end of the day. Now I imagine you on the other side of the radio, doing your homework or driving with your windows down on the freeway. I see you tapping the wheel, I see you bobbing your head to the radio.
We all do that, don't we?
Oh, and it makes my day to see that smile on your face. And in some small way, I remember my place. It's you and me singing the same song right now. Maybe this will bring us together somehow. Maybe there's a million people all singing along. Somebody started thinking about the third line, and maybe someone's saying a prayer for the first time. And that's enough reason to keep me singing my songs. Singing my songs on the other side of the radio. Crank up the volume and sing at the top of your lungs with the radio. Tuning in to some good news and laughing along with the DJ.
Of course, there is no DJ here. This is Periscope,
We're
people.
changing somebody's world from the other side of the radio.
God is changing people's lives, people.
Oh, and it makes my
That's right.
day
Uh-huh.
to see that smile on your face. And in some small way, I remember my place. Because it's you and me singing the same song right now. Maybe this will bring us together somehow. Maybe there's a million people all singing along.
I doubt it.
Somebody started thinking about the third line, and maybe someone's saying a prayer for the first time. And that's enough reason to keep me singing my songs.
That's right.
Singing my songs on the other side of the radio.
All right, here comes the chorus again, people. Sing it where I can hear you, okay? Ready? Here we go.
It's you and me singing the same song right now. Maybe this will bring us together somehow. And maybe there's a million people all singing along. Somebody started thinking about the third line, and maybe someone's saying a prayer for the first time. And that's enough reason to keep me singing my songs. Keep me singing my songs on the other side of the radio. On the other side of the radio. On the other side of the radio. On the other side of the radio.
All right, people. Okay, if you don't know who that is, that's Chris Rice. And that's his song, The Other Side of the Radio, which, by the way, I have to tell you is one of my favorite songs of all time, for obvious reasons, just so you know. Anyway, welcome to the show. Hey, thanks for allowing us to come into your lives through your Periscope app. Those of you who are on Periscope watching us. Or if you're listening to the archive on iTunes or Spreaker, or watching us on YouTube, because there's a couple of you that do, literally just a couple. Hi. Anyway, and so yeah, we're on an hour late today because we had we actually, had to get some stuff done, because tomorrow we're going to Oklahoma to the Prophecy Watchers Conference. And those of you who listen to the show, you've listened to us for a long time. Half of the speakers at this conference, and there's 33 of those speakers, half of those speakers we've had on our show. And so I am going to pull up my bootstraps, as my friend says, and I'm going to get in the car, and I'm going to just pray that the 10-hour drive is, not too anxiety provoking. Again, I'm going to go, and I'm going to think of all the people that I will finally get to hug and get a picture with and say, I can't believe it. I've only talked to you 5 million times. So it's going to be good. And in fact, the beginning of this show, you always see our opening. That's Derek Gilbert, who hosts Skywatch TV. And his wife, Sharon, Derek and Sharon Gilbert, they're going to be there. They're going to be speaking, and I'm definitely getting a picture with them, just so you know. They've been on our show numerous times. They put me on their show, on PID Radio. And Bill Salas is going to be there. L.A. Marzulli is going to be there. Jonathan Cahn's going to be there. Pastor Billy Crone's going to be there. Ron Rhodes is going to be there. Mark Hitchcock is going to be there. Jeff Kinley, who we just had on a couple of months ago, he's going to be there. I mean, gazillions of people. Well, not gazillions, but a whole bunch of people are going to be there. And we are going to be there. So if you are in our traveling path from Tennessee to Oklahoma and you want to meet up with us, you got to let me know so we can figure out how we can make that happen, because we will do everything we can in our power to do it. If you're in the path of our, thingy. Okay? Right? Sound like a plan? All right. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in later. I know that you guys are there, so let's just say hi to Mia. By the way, Mia sent me an awesome birthday card. I'm just going to say, people, I only got one birthday card this year, and Mia was the one that sent it to me.
It's by far the best birthday card you got this year, right?
I'm just saying, I actually only got one birthday card. I was really surprised. I thought some of you people would actually send me a card, but did you? I'm not hurt, don't worry. But did you? No, you didn't. Thank you, Angie. Anyway, yeah, so Mia's here. Thank you for the card, and she gave me a little gift too, but anyway.
And
Lovewell is here. Jeff is here. See, our pillars of the community are here. Just Me is here. I'm trying to see who else. I can't see. Melanie says, oops. Yeah, Melanie. Hey, I'm actually surprised you didn't send me a card. At least you of all people. You, my number one super fan. And didn't I send you a birthday gift? Didn't I? Okay. It's all right. It's okay. I'm kidding.
Bygones.
Yeah, bygones. Mm-hmm. It's okay. And there's Julie. Hey, Julie. Okay. Anyway, so, yeah, so that's our opening. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some of the news that's come out today, including national...
Come out.
Yes, you did play the piano for me. That is very true. Very, very true. Thank you for that. Yeah, so today
and she's probably the only one that did that.
It is, and she did it on Snapchat, which was very cool.
I didn't even play the piano for you.
I know. All you did was send me flowers and make me feel like $1 million.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's all you did. By the way, you know what I'm going to do, you guys? Me and Bareface were talking about this because we're driving to Oklahoma and not taking an airplane. You see those beautiful flowers behind me right there that are opening up? I am going to bring them with me. I'm going to put them in the car. And I'm going to bring them to Oklahoma. And I'm going to put them up in our hotel room. Because we're going to be there a week. And, I figure if I leave them here, they might die. Well, they would probably die. And I wouldn't get to enjoy them. So I told Randall, I said, you know what? I'm going to bring the flowers with us. I mean, we rented a car, so why not, right? Isn't that a good idea? Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. But anyway, so today is National Coming Out Day. It is. And I found this out. I mean, this is always an issue. National Coming Out Day is it happens all the time on October 11th every year. Fortunately, it's not October 9th, my birthday. That would irritate me. But it's a couple days after my birthday. It's actually my uncle's birthday today. But I don't think he cares. He might care, but I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. But anyway, so today, of course, because it's National Coming Out Day, on Twitter, it's trending. And by the way, here is a news flash. The Periscope update, in case you didn't know now, you can actually put hashtags in your titles, and they are clickable now. They just did that with the brand new iOS update, in case you didn't know that. Who decided it was National Coming Out Day? Well, I think it's something the gay lobby has set up many years ago, and they actually did that. They actually did it. It's like on the calendar. Just like June is Gay Pride Month, except if you're Donald Trump and he doesn't like see it, he doesn't like go validate it or anything. October 11th is National Coming Out Day. And what they do on this day is basically...
That doesn't make sense.
What was that?
That was some... That was some video on a website, but...
Are you serious?
I've got the
volume turned down?
Yeah.
You've never heard of it until today? Really? Okay, well, I guess you don't track this agenda like I do. But yeah, no, this has been out for a long time. And so basically what the day is, it's really built around to get people who struggle or who identify, I guess struggle isn't the right word, who identify as homosexual, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. And they want people to know about it, and they're afraid to tell people. Kind of like in 1997, I think it was, when Ellen DeGeneres came out as lesbian on her TV show. That was a big deal back then, in case you didn't know that. By the way, that show was actually really good. And then she got it all political and stuff. So that's what it is. And basically, it's a day for allies to come out and to stand with the LGBTQ community, and it is Q plus. There's actually the acronym for LGBT has gotten a lot longer. It used to be just LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, but now it's actually lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and there's a whole bunch of other ones I can't remember. Oh, well, it's actually not Gay Pride Month by mandate now because Trump didn't make it. But when Obama was in the office, it was. But anyway, yeah. And there are many people that really suffer. So anyway, but here's my reason for bringing this up. Number one, I think it's important for you to know. And number two, today the Boy Scouts. I mean, this is another kind of shocking. Well, it's not really shocking. But did you guys hear what the Boy Scouts did today? This is crazy to me. Although it's not really that crazy. It says here on CNN, the liberal CNN network, Boy Scouts will allow girls to join. Okay, so I'm almost 50 now. I love saying that because I'm only 49 in 2 days? But when I was a girl, when I was just a little girl, well, like when I mean girl as in like girl, not like woman. I am a woman now, but when I was a girl, the Girl Scouts existed for girls and the Boy Scouts existed just for boys. But now boys can join Girl Scouts and girls can join Boy Scouts. This is what it says here. Boy Scouts will allow girls to join, just in case you didn't know that. I know, it's like, well, why are there Girl Scouts, right? I mean, it says here, the Boy Scouts of America Board of Directors has unanimously, can you believe this? Unanimously, that means everyone, in case you didn't know, agreed to welcome girls into the Cub Scout program and to forge a path for older girls to pursue and earn the highest rank of Eagle Scout, the organization said Wednesday. The historic decision comes after years of receiving requests from families and girls Boy Scouts of America said in a statement, the organization evaluated the results of numerous research efforts, gaining input from current members and leaders, as well as parents and girls who've never been involved in scouting, to understand how to offer families an important additional choice in meeting the character development needs of all their children. BSA, that's Boy Scouts of America, which should now be called BGSA. Just saying, people.
Or BLGBTQISA or whatever. Let's just grow it.
Anyway, said the move is also aimed at helping busy families consolidate programs for their kids, just so you know. Families today are busier and more diverse than ever. Most are dual earners, and there are more single-parent households than ever before, making convenient programs that serve the whole family more appealing. Oh, yeah. When it's time to change, you've got to rearrange who you are into what you're gonna be. Na 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 na. Okay, I saw that and just couldn't resist. Anyway, do I know my Brady Bunch or what? Just saying. Anyway, it says here, families today. Okay, wait. Then it says Boy Scouts of America has about 2.3 million youth members between ages 7 and 21, and about 960,000 volunteers. 960,000, almost a million volunteers in the United States and its territories. Scouting leaders praise decision. I welcome the Boy Scouts' decision to integrate girls into their programs, tweeted Ahmed Al-Haladoui, somebody. I can't say that guy's name, but anyway, whatever. Or girl. I'm not sure if it's a girl or a guy. It might be a guy, but anyway. CEO of World Scouting on, quote, hashtag Day of the Girl, we affirm hashtag scouting commitment to girls' empowerment. Today, the BSA opens a new chapter in our history, tweeted the Boy Scouts Chief Scout Executive Mike Serbaugh. Okay. All right. Anyway, blah, blah, whatever. Okay. And the National Organization for Some Women said, okay, that was a joke. See how I did that? National Organization of Women. It's actually National Organization of Some Women. Janet Parshall said that. I copied Janet because it's true. It's just some women that they side with. They had a mixed response to the Boy Scouts announcement. I think it's a good thing in the Boy Scouts to have a long history of discrimination, and they are taking action. Now, President Tony Van Pelt said, the devil is in the details, and we need to wait and see how this plays out. The news also received mixed reactions on social media, with some critics calling the move unnecessary and PC. Note how they call people who oppose it a critic. Like I'm so critical because, you know, I'm a woman and I don't think, you know. And then it says Donald Trump Jr. also weighed in saying, strange, I thought that's what the Girl Scouts was for. Drop the mic. I mean, seriously, that's the. I mean, what's the point of the Girl Scouts? What's the point of the Girl Scouts if
The spouts.
I mean, what's the point? What's the point of Girl Scouts if girls can now become Boy Scouts?
Well,
or Cubby Scouts.
We had warning back earlier this year around springtime. You know, the Boy Scouts had to pay some. They lost a lawsuit about not allowing a transgender, you know, a girl who identified as a boy, and so they, as a result of losing that lawsuit, they opened it up to transgender boys who are really girls, and then once that happened, you know, the National Organization for Some Women said, well, if you're doing that, then you need to admit all girls. It's interesting, they recognized that this girl was actually a girl, even though she identified as a boy, and that was the whole case of the lawsuit. But, you know, they said, well, if you're going to admit these kinds of girls, the ones who say they're boys, then you should admit all girls. So it was only a matter of time. You know what I think is interesting?
What do you think is interesting? Bareface.
Well, there's a CBS affiliate in their article. There are no plans to change our name at this time, spokeswoman Effie Delamarco said in an email. So the Boy Scouts spokesperson is a spokeswoman, which I think is
why did they say spokesperson? They're being so discriminatory against men when they say spokeswoman.
Well, and actually, even per son, that's kind of sexist. It maybe should be per offspring, or because son is a male designator. Anyway, but spokes per offspring. Anyway, but under the new plan, the Cub Scout dens, and I had a den mother when I was a Cub Scout. Anyway, they'll be single gender.
Yeah,
either all boys or all girls.
As a 53-year-old former Cub Scout, a cubby, Mr. Harp, how does this make you feel, having been part of the Boy Scouts of America?
Well,
an alumni, if you will.
Yeah, no, I'm not an alumni. I'm an alumnus.
Whatever.
I'm one person. Alumni is plural. Anyway.
But you can be a girl if you want to be.
I could be. But...
Just saying, you could. Just saying. Today...
I just have to declare it.
You grow your hair a little bit longer.
Wouldn't even have to do that. I just have to declare it.
I think you should.
No.
It's National Coming Out Day. You should do it right now.
No.
I'll be here. I'll support you.
That would worry me.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
But
if you guys have no idea.
Yeah.
I wish I could say some stuff, but I can't.
I love this line. I love this line in the article.
Okay.
Boy Scout leaders said the change was needed to provide more options for parents.
Yeah.
I mean, because, we didn't know what we had. Boy Scouts, we had Girl Scouts, we had Pioneer Clubs, we had...
There were so many choices.
But parents we need to provide more options for parents.
Because they're not stressed out enough.
And simpler options, like letting the girls go to Boy Scouts and the boys go to Girl Scouts, just...
Do you remember the episode of Parks and Recreation with Leslie Knope?
Yes, I do.
Okay, those of you who don't know me very well, you probably don't know that I love the TV show Parks and Recreation. One of my favorite shows of all time. So much so, that show got me through moving from California to Tennessee. And I love that show so much that
New York Highness is here. Welcome, Your Highness.
That I actually bought the DVD series, and people bought stuff for me. I even have a coffee cup from Parks and Recreation. That's how much I love the show. And so there's an episode in this show where Leslie Knope, who's the main character, she and Ron Swanson, they go up and they take the girls. They each take, okay, what happens is Ron takes the boys on his outing, and then Leslie, she takes the girls. And Leslie, she goes ahead and she shows all this great stuff. They have badge. They win a badge for doing something stupid, and anyway, all this stuff. And it shows Ron Swanson, who is the libertarian character on the show, giving the boys a box, a can of beans, and basically and a tarp or something, and says, "Hey, you should go ahead and do this stuff, right?" It's really kind of making fun of the fact that Ron wanted to be rugged and rough it up and rough it. Is that right? Anyway, to be rugged and rustic. Yeah. So Leslie and Ron, they do this, right? And then at the end of the episode, so the boys are upset because they're getting to see, the puppy cuddle party and the arts and crafts and the fishing and all this weird stuff that Leslie had planned for the girls. The boys were completely jealous because all they got was the box, the tarp, and the can of beans. And Ron was trying to teach them how to survive, as whatever it was. Well, keep in mind, Parks and Recreation is written by liberals, and also it's a mockumentary on society's issues, many of them. And so when they did this show, they intentionally made being a boy and manly and roughing it up, and that's not the word I'm looking for, but that's the only word I can find right now, kind of like boring, whereas Leslie Knope made the girls and all that, all the girl activities really super fun. Well, eventually the boys decided to come out and say, you know what, I want to go ahead and become, what was it, Randall? Do you remember?
Something goddess was in the title.
Yeah, I forgot. Whatever it was, goddess, that's right. And so they made the boys swear to this girl goddess thing so that they could become goddesses and all that. And then Ron, he felt really super depressed and basically wanted to leave and go home. And then at the very end of the show, what they do is they brought in, Leslie had put an ad in the paper basically saying, hey, if you want to join this club where, you can dig ditches and you can do this, and you can do that and all this other stuff, then you can become a Swanson. And all these, both girls and boys, both showed up in Ron Swanson's office. And then Ron went ahead and did what he does with kids. And it was to me, it was a very powerful show, because what they were showing was, whether or not they agreed with it or not, they're basically showing down the feminization of men and basically mocking men who are trying to train boys to be men, right? And then basically wiping out the discriminatory gender gap by having him create his own club, because nobody wanted to just, because girls felt left out. They wanted to be a Swanson too, but the girls, they do that. Anyway, it was a really good episode. And then they also, Parks and Recreation also did another episode where they named Ron Swanson the Woman of the Year. And Leslie Knope was supposed to be the Woman of the Year. And instead they actually named him the Woman of the Year. And Leslie was really upset about it because she deserved to be Woman of the Year. And Ron thought it was funny. But there was one line in there where it was like the National Organization of it was supposed to be of women. It was basically kind of mocking them. And what they shared in that episode was, well, you know what? It's so passé to have a Woman of the Year. If we go ahead and we name a man a Woman of the Year, then we'll get more publicity. And, it's not so politically correct and blah, 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 blah. And, and it's just one of those things where, why do you think, and bringing this up to a biblical perspective, why do you think gender has become such a target in our culture? I mean, really, because 100 years ago, it wasn't a big deal for a woman to do what she does and a man to do what he does. It wasn't a big deal, Have gender roles changed that much in 100 years or 1,000 years for that? Yeah, such a fad after gender. Yeah, it's true. No, it's the underlying spiritual issue in all of this, and this is the main point of the show, is that the devil hates God. And he hates you and he hates me because we were created in his image. And in the very first book of the Bible, it says God created male and female. He created them both. Period. That's it. Male and female. Not lesbian, not gay, not bisexual, not transgender, not queer, not questioning, not intersex, not interspiritual, not all the other things that they add onto it. Male and female. So the spiritual issue here is you see this confusion of sexuality and the attack on gender because Satan knows his time is short. And if he can create division and dissension in this basic area that God created, then he's done a darn good job, don't you think? And so the dumb thing that happened today, with the Boy Scouts declaring girls can be Cub Scouts, I mean, it's it's stupid. I mean, it's really stupid. And the thing that's really sad is that our culture has been so saturated with the indoctrination of this that good people have given up even talking about it. I tell you, I was at pickleball this morning because I can only play today, and for a whole week I'm not going to be able to play, which is going to be really a bummer. But I was talking to a friend of mine who is in his 70s, and I was telling him that today is declared National Coming Out Day. He goes, "What?" I go, "Today is National Coming Out Day. Do you not know what that means?" He's like, "What did you say?" He's kind of a hickish type. And I said, well, today's National Coming Out Day. What does that? He goes, oh, the gay community, they took God's rainbow. And I said, well, actually, they really didn't. He goes, well, what do you mean? God created the rainbow. He got on this big thing about the rainbow. And I said, you need to look at the rainbow of the gay community. It is not God's rainbow. The rainbow of the LGBT community, the activist community, has 6 colors in it. God's rainbow has 7. Okay? Check it out. Any logo you see for the lesbian, gay, bisexual lobby, LGBT lobby, the rainbow is only 6 colors. The rainbow God made is 7 colors. So, you know, and you think, well, that's really not that important. Yeah, it is. It's very important. It's very intentional. They know what they're doing. And Satan always likes to counterfeit what God does. But keep in mind, it's only a counterfeit. Because God made the real deal. And so if you're living a life that's a counterfeit, right, you're going to have confusion. You're going to have disorientation. You're going to have depression. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to have to make up days like National Coming Out Day in order to make yourself feel a certain way and validated, because that's not how, ultimately, that's not God's perfect design. That's not how God created humans to be. He gave us a clear roadmap in the Bible. And, you know, people don't like to read the Bible. I don't know why, because it's a good book. Literally. Yeah, it is. Check it out. I'm actually an expert on this topic. I've been covering this topic for, 15 years now or something? 12 years? 13, no, 15, at least 15 years. And I've gone into LGBT lobby conferences a couple times. I've gone into counseling conferences where the whole purpose of them was to indoctrinate into the LGBT thing. I have a lot of friends who are very knowledgeable about this. I've had a lot of them on this show. And I have friends that are in the LGBT community. And, you know, it's interesting because the dialogue in the church is, well, what do we do in the church? And my approach, honestly, has changed over the years, because I used to come down really super hard, you know, well, Romans 1, you know, Leviticus, you know, all that stuff. But the bottom line is God knows, and they know, right? But here's the biggest group in the culture today that's actually discriminated against. It's not the LGBT lobby. It's not the black lobby. You know, it's not even the racism that our government and the media is trying to discriminate against. You know who's discriminated more against, if you want to talk discrimination? Christians. Christians are discriminated against, and former homosexuals, lesbians, and transgender individuals are discriminated against. Because you know what? They don't have a voice. If you know anything about the LGBT lobby and the counseling field like I do, because that's my background, just so you know, in case you're new, I am Stacey Lynn Harp. That MS stands for Masters of Science in Clinical Psychology. Then you understand that you know, that the discrimination that's there is, like in the counseling world, if somebody, they have made laws saying that if there's an adolescent 18 years or younger who struggles with his sexual or her sexual identity, they say that they believe they're gay and they don't want to be and they want help. In certain states in America, it is now against the law. A therapist cannot help that person. It is banned. Completely banned. It's against the law. So you got to ask yourself why. And that's part of the reason I never got licensed. Those of you who already know me, you already know that. But I could not in good conscience get licensed as a therapist in California, knowing that if I had somebody who was 18 years old or younger who was struggling with homosexuality and they came in to see me and they wanted help, I couldn't do it legally. Why? Do you not think that a person should have the right to self-determination? If it's okay for somebody 18 and younger to get help or to get support for being gay, how come it's not okay for people who are under 18 to get help if they didn't want to be gay? I mean, is that inflammatory to ask the question? Isn't it not discrimination to say, wait, you know what, you can't get help because you're too young. You know? I mean, that is a fact.
You're too young and don't hold the right viewpoint.
Yeah. In California, New York, New Jersey, and numerous other states, this law has already been passed. Okay? So the question again then is why? What's the big deal? And if somebody just says that they have struggled with homosexuality, let's say they went and got help, or let's say they didn't. Let's just say for sake of fun, they became a Christian and God delivered them of those feelings, just for sake of argument, because I happen to know a number of people that happened to, and they declare openly, yes, I'm a former struggler of homosexuality or lesbianism or transgenderism. Okay? So then the thing is, what happens to those people? Well, I can tell you what happens to them. They get marginalized. They get vilified in the media. They get hated on. They get death threats. The Restored Hope Network, which is headed up by Ann Polk, her husband, John, who was married to her for a number of years, he came out of the homosexual lifestyle, and not too long ago, he went back into it, leaving her and her kids basically abandoned. And anyway, long story short, she heads up the Restored Hope Network. The Restored Hope Network exists in order to help people who want to come out of, who want change, who want to overcome that stuff, okay? And granted, I know there's lots of people who struggle with this issue. They don't care. They want to stay. They deal with the struggle. Some live celibately. Some are married. Some, they live however their conscience leads them to. But don't you think that everybody should have a right to self-determination? If I'm a former homosexual, do you not think I should be able to say that openly without discrimination? But the thing is, and here's the truth, the thing is you can't, not in our culture. Because the LGBT lobby has convinced the media and the church that you got to be quiet about it. It's true. I've been covering this for 15 years. And I can tell you this, the other thing is that people, I have good friends who, I remember when I was in graduate school, they were like, well, you're so hung up on this issue, and, the gay population isn't that much, etc., blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, see, the 10% myth, by the way, the 10% of the population is not gay, just so you know. And when I say gay, I mean the LGBT lobby and all that, okay? It's not 10%. 1 to 3% on the very high end identifies as LGBT, okay? Which is a far cry from the 10% that Oprah Winfrey, when she was promoting this out in the beginning, in the early 80s, the mid 80s, she quoted Alfred Kinsey, who himself was gay and a pervert, and who did sex studies on infants and babies and prisoners in jail. Okay? So that's the thing. People don't know their history, and they don't understand how all this came about. This is the truth, right? But now it's become really, really hard to talk about, because you have a culture that says, well, hey, you know what? If it feels good, then I'm going to come out as gay, and you're going to have to support me no matter what. Okay, so back to my point. So a friend of mine was telling me, well, what's your big issue? Why are you talking about? Why do you care about this? When I was in graduate school, and I've told this a million times, if you've already heard it, you can leave because you don't have to listen to it again. But those of you who haven't heard this, you got to hear this. I went to Vanguard University of Southern California, which is a Christian university. There's a cultural diversity course that I was in. And the whole point of cultural diversity is to help you learn about cultural diversity. Well, the professor in that class, he decided that he was going to have homosexuality as part of that cultural diversity stuff, right? And that was fine. I said, I have no problem with that. He said, what I want you to do is I want you to go interview somebody of a different diversity. And so I went up to him and I said, Joel, his name was Joel. I said, Joel, do you mind if for my assignment I interview a former homosexual? Okay, remember this. He said, if you can find one. I said, you clearly don't know who I am, do you? Anyway, long story short, I called up a friend of mine who leads a ministry, and I ended up talking to a woman who identified as a lesbian for over 30 years, okay? I wrote up a whole paper on her. She became a Christian. God delivered her and saved her, and she no longer identified as a lesbian, and she actually eventually got married to a man. I then got up in front of my graduate class, in front of about 20, 30 people. I can't remember how many was in there. And I said to my class, after literally being harassed for weeks prior to the presentation, I said to my class, there are 3 types of homosexuals that you need to know about. The first is what you're going to see on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, because that was on TV back then. The second is your gay activist who's out there marching down Constitutional Avenue, demanding special rights for what they believe and stuff. Groups like ACT UP, which are Marxist in nature ultimately, and they just create chaos and stuff. I know I've been there when they've done that. And then I said, and the former person who struggles with that identity. This was an assignment in this class where I was supposed to talk for 5 minutes. There was such outpouring of interest, let's just say. It was really more attacks, to be honest, and this was still in a Christian school, that I literally fielded questions for a half hour. Okay? And I had people come up to me afterwards saying, I can't believe that you did that. And then I can't believe that you would talk about somebody who's a former homosexual. And I'm like, let's think this through a minute, okay? I got my Master's of Science degree in clinical psychology. My emphasis is cognitive behavioral therapy, meaning that if you change the way you think, it changes how you behave, right? It's really circular. You change your behavior, it changes how you think too. God made our brains to rewire themselves, and you can literally retrain your brain, right? So if somebody decides that they want to change their mind about this particular orientation and go another way, shouldn't that be okay? I mean, wouldn't that make sense as a cognitive behavioral therapist that you could actually do that? It works with everything else. You don't want to drink anymore? Change how you think about it. Don't be an alcoholic. You know, you don't want to be a sex addict? Change how you think about it. Change your behavior. Don't, you know. But see, the lobby, the LGBT lobby, has marketed this so well. They've convinced people that this isn't what it is, which is a choice, okay? It's a clear choice. Now, the feelings might not be a choice. They might show up, but acting on all feelings, you have a choice, right? So this is very interesting. So, see, she is promoting the OK stigma. No, I'm not promoting an OK stigma. You clearly aren't listening to me if that's what you think. Anyway, so my point here is that to be a former homosexual, you're discriminated against because if you say that you are somebody who no longer struggles with the feelings of whatever it is in that LGBT letter, then you're in denial, closeted, a bigot, a liar, a homophobe, a heterophobe, a transphobe, etc. You just keep naming the names over and over again. So there is no legitimacy and validation for those who are former homosexuals or lesbians. They're the most discriminated population in our culture. And getting back to it, Christians are too. Because the Christian church, the Bible-believing, born-again people who actually read and obey Scripture, are also discriminated against because we hold true what's written in this book. And many of you have already started quoting scriptures in the book, right? And here's the thing. If you are a Christian and you believe this book, you believe it all or you believe none of it. Okay? That's my point. You know, if you're a Christian, you don't rip out pages you don't like. God wrote them for a reason. You might not like it, but it's still God's word. So you got to take that seriously. Okay, so it's an interesting thing. Now, the comment about atheism, it's interesting thing about atheists is that atheism isn't an identity in the sense of like being homosexual or whatever. You're not born an atheist. They do not understand how a person can be transformed and set free. That's very true. I mean, that's very true. And it's sad because the problem is that if, like, going back to the former homosexual thing, if you're a former lesbian or homosexual or transgender individual, which I've had all 3 of those on my show before, and you're a Christian, oh my gosh, you are so evil. Because you're living proof of exactly what the devil doesn't want you to be living proof of. He's done a really good job of confusing the masses, and that's what he wants. But see, that's where your testimony becomes really super powerful. If you stand in God's truth, you realize Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. You realize that Jesus rose from the dead to set us free so that we could walk in freedom and not bondage. It's natural to be in bondage. It's supernatural to walk in freedom. And the devil don't want you to be free. He wants you to be in bondage. So there you have it. I could go on and on and on about this, but I thought I'd give Bareface an opportunity to say something. Or I can answer some questions too, if they're legitimate.
There was a question earlier about someone who had asked about scripture from, I think it's Colossians, about, Christ is neither Jew nor Greek, male nor female. And I don't know, they were saying that a lesbian asked them that, so I don't know what was trying to be implied there.
Well, obviously the context of that passage isn't taken into consideration. It doesn't address that issue in context.
Yeah, it's not about sexual identity or anything like that.
So you can't take that. You can't even answer that because it doesn't apply in that context.
Right. I wasn't part of the original conversation, so. You
weren't?
No, okay. I was not. So I'm not sure that happened. Before the time gets away from us, we should recognize our sponsor.
Okay, go for it. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, want to take a moment to recognize a wonderful organization that we partnered with for many years, but especially this last year that they've been sponsoring our program. Ariel Ministries, you find them online at ariel.org, ariel.org. Ariel Ministries is a nonprofit organization dedicated to evangelizing Jewish people as well as discipling Jewish and Gentile believers in Yeshua, Messiah. They have many great resources available for free, but also some for purchase that support their ministry. And I invite you, in fact, I urge you to visit ariel.org, see what they have, the resources they have available for purchase. And when you check out there, be sure to use the coupon code Bible News, and that will save you 20% on anything at any time. So ariel.org. Great resources available there. And since we're not doing since the giveaway was yesterday, I won't talk about that. Cut to me. Stacy's doing something with something, so I'll wait until But
no, actually, I was just scrolling through the Twitter feed on the hashtag National Coming Out Day.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know.
Well.
So the atheist boldly said he was going to hell because he's an atheist. And you put a smiley face there. Lesbo wanted to imply that as it is in heaven is here, God is gender neutral spirit, not male. I hear you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, and here's the other thing.
And what would that make? How would that negate Genesis chapter 1 about him creating man in his image, male and female, he created them. And God they're created in his image, an inward image, more so than an outward image. But even as we look at scriptures, while both masculine and feminine traits are applied to the creator of heaven and earth, the predominant representation, if you will, is masculine. He's a father in heaven, so yeah.
Right, Adam and Eve are male and female.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so of those of you who are in the chat stream, how many of you know people who identify in the LGBT lobby? I would put a 1 for me, for sure. I know people that do. I think she had genuine questions, struggles about her temptations. Yeah, and you know what the answer is? The answer is biblical love. Okay? Yeah, it's biblical love. No, you don't know anybody. Okay. But all of you do. Yeah. And you know what? I know people in the lifestyle, and you do too. You just don't know it. Just saying. I have a sister-in-law who's a lesbian. I've shared publicly before. I used to struggle with same-sex attraction when I was a young woman, before I got into therapy and was dealing with the sexual abuse issues that I have as a result of being molested. So I understand the feelings, but I also understand the solution too, and all that. So, yeah, and so here's the thing I want you to take away from this. Number one, I want you to remember that God's word is true. It stands true, and there are no lies in his word. God doesn't lie, so what God says is true. Okay, so you always have God to fall back on, no matter what. But you got to remember, the culture wants you to change your mind about what God's word says. And not just the culture, the secular culture, but also the church culture, because this has become part of the issue in the church, where you have the topic of gay Christianity that comes up. I do not support gay Christianity at all. I don't believe biblically that you can identify as somebody who struggles with a certain sin and call yourself a Christian, because there's okay, let me rephrase that. I can't say that completely. What I can say is you can struggle with it, but if you're walking in it and your identification is more dominant than your Christian faith, and that's more your God than Christ is, then I'd say that there's an issue. I do believe people can struggle in that area and be Christians and remain celibate. Okay, that's what I think. But because if you frame it as a temptation as opposed to an identity, then that's how you can deal with that.
Yeah.
See, go ahead.
I was going to say just the same as, card-carrying KKK member. If you say, well, I'm a Christian, but, I'm like a card-carrying racist,
Sure.
then I'd say, no, you're not. They're incompatible. I would say, no, you're not a racist. Yes, you are a racist, but you can't call yourself a follower of Christ.
Right. But I don't...
struggling with something is one thing. Taking that identity and saying that it's not sin. If you say you have no sin, we make him a liar. So,
okay, bye, Brennan. Bye. It's really sad that you decide to leave, but that's okay. Nobody's asking you to leave. But anyway, so there is that issue. What I wish people would do is, love is the answer. Okay. Real biblical love is the answer, right? Real love doesn't applaud somebody who is celebrating something that's not what God designed. It's just not. Right? I mean, the human body was not made for, two men to be sexually together. That's not how it was designed. Same thing with women. It doesn't go together, right? And it's perverted. I mean, it is. It's literally, technically perverted, because it biologically doesn't happen. And people will go, well, scientists have studied in sex and they found homosexuality in the insect world. And I'm like, even if that was true, I think it's a dumb argument because we are not insects, right? But we do live in a sin-sick, fallen world. And the temptations of man, the struggles of man are common to man. Everybody struggles with it. But what bothers me, and this is the thing, lust is a sin, you're right. Hi, Adriana. You know, what bothers me is that, number one, if you choose to not identify and walk away, you're condemned for it in our culture. And the church doesn't want to even help that in many ways. But then the other thing is that people who struggle with that often don't get to the root of why. You know, sexual abuse is huge within that community. And dealing with sexual abuse and the effects and trauma of sexual abuse is difficult. And it's a lot easier for some people to just engage in that rather than deal with the root of the issue. You know, often there's an attachment disruption because of that. You know, there could be same-sex trauma. There could be literal opposite sex trauma that helps create that. But what really bothers me is the last 20 years, our culture, the children have been indoctrinated since kindergarten and even earlier to believe that if they like somebody of the same sex, then they're gay. What bothers me about that is child development. If you understand how children develop, then children naturally like, little kids like the same gender because that's how God created us until we hit puberty. Then we go, oh my gosh, look at that beautiful hunky creature over there, So, yeah, Scouts are opening the door. Yeah, well, the Scouts have been doing that for years, though. I personally will never buy another Girl Scout cookie, ever. I had kids here this past year come up, can you buy my... I'm like, nope, sorry, I'm broke. Don't have any money to buy the Girl Scout. I don't want to say no. It's because, the politics of it all. I don't support that. No, my money, I don't buy Starbucks. I don't buy Ben & Jerry's. And I don't buy the Girl Scout cookies on purpose. Those three things, not that any of them are good for me or not. It's very rare. People have given me Starbucks cards. I'll use it, but I will not buy Starbucks because they promote so boldly that I don't go to Target. I also try not to go to Home Depot. I call it Homo Depot. Because they're so blatant out there in the thing. It's like, well, if I know that you're going to go ahead and promote this blatantly in my face and it's against my beliefs, I'm not going to give you my money. Other people can, but Ben & Jerry, think about it, people. Ben & Jerry's, Starbucks, etc.
Since we're talking about the Scouts, I want to bring up a paragraph from an article we looked at earlier. Of course, it's on the internet and from mainstream media, so take it with a
grain of salt.
Yeah, okay. Or a pound. I don't know. A few grains.
Okay.
Anyway.
You got it.
But speaking of this interaction with Boy Scouts, during the outreach, some parents expressed concern about possible problems related to overnight camping trips. The Surbaugh, some spokesperson for the Scouts, or spokes per offspring, said there would continue to be a ban on mixed-gender overnight outings for Scouts ages 11 to 14. Yeah, because, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, co-ed overnight camp,
Thanks,
that's totally okay, 15-year-old and 16-year-old boys and girls spending the night together. That's great. Cub Scout camping trips, he noted, were usually family affairs with less need for rigid policies. So if that doesn't, open the door for all sorts of stuff, Cub Scouts, more family, they don't need, there's no need for rigid policies.
Well, the Girl Scouts are going through, they're going through a change. And so are the Boy Scouts. I think ultimately the ultimate goal of the people who are kind of the big influencers in that is basically to, nix those things. Just like schools today are not, they don't really teach history. They teach socialism. You know, now you have these organizations that a lot of people think, you know, and they're basically indoctrination clubs. I mean, let's just say it. That's what it is. We no longer say boyfriend or girlfriend. We say partner. TV show started that for the gays. Yeah, that's actually true. Exactly. You know, when I went to this counseling conference a number of years ago, I talked about this a lot. The lesbian psychologist who headed it up, right? This was actually a conference for therapists, which I am. And it was in San Diego, which is a gay hub. There's a big LGBT population down there. She actually said, she literally said, don't use the word homosexual. And I already knew this, but she said, don't use the word homosexual, use the word gay. Because homosexual implies sex. And we never, ever, 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 ever want people to identify homosexuality with sex. Because when you actually do that, then what happens is you have, you're actually talking about the behavior and not just the identity. So that was the issue. And there's Dr. Jennifer Fee, who is in the house. Hopefully you got my Marco Polo, didn't you? Anyway, so that was very interesting to me to actually hear that from somebody at that conference. Makes me want to go lead a troop to protect them from, well, yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So it is a very interesting discussion, and I find it interesting that the Boy Scouts did this on National Coming Out Day, which, by the way, in case you didn't know that, it is National Coming Out Day. So, how are we on time, Randall?
How are we on time? I think we're a little bit over.
Oh,
yeah.
we are. Okay.
Yeah, we're about just 2 minutes over.
Only 2 minutes? Okay. All right. Well, we are on our way to Oklahoma. I feel like
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping across the plain.
Yes.
The wave in the wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. Anyway.
Please promise me you're not going to sing in the car tomorrow.
I can't do that, but I won't sing that.
Thank you. My prayers have already been answered.
That was a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Irish Skies.
All right. So you guys who know we're going to Oklahoma, we're going to the Prophecy Watchers Conference. Follow us here on Periscope. We're gonna interview some people. That'll be really cool. So let me tell you again who's gonna be at this. Let's see here. Prophecy Watchers. Okay. When you travel, try to keep your flowers cool. The tulips will. Yeah. Well, we're going to be in an air-conditioned car. I think it'll be okay. Okay, so at this conference, we are going to hear speak Gary Stearman and Tom Horn, who both have been on our show, by the way. And let's see, I'll tell you who else is going to be there. Mark Hitchcock. He has been on our show. Tommy Ice. He hasn't been on our show. It's only because I haven't asked, though. Josh Peck, who I think is a twit, actually. He will never be on our show for that reason alone.
Never say never.
He won't be. No. And if I meet him,
Grace.
I will probably call him a twit in person.
God's grace.
Yeah. Anyway, Brent Miller, Senior, has been on our show. He's Jeff Kinley.
Brent Miller Jr.'s been on our...
Was it Junior?
Yeah.
Okay, well, one of them has been on our show.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff Kinley, he was on our show not too long ago. Archives are here in the thing. He'll be there.
That's pretty recent.
Sharon Gilbert will be on.
Yep.
We've had her on.
Yep.
Dr. Danny Benjiji, he is going to be doing a talk on Hebrew 101 language lessons. You'll probably want to sit on that one.
Yeah.
Bill Koenig, I've actually met in person. He's never been on our show, but
He's
have.
Not?
No. No.
Okay.
Tom Hughes, America in the New World Order. That's actually a topic. I can't remember if he's been on our show or not.
I don't think so.
Andy Woods, he's going to be talking about the last days apostasy, which I actually think this whole thing is everything we talked about tonight is part of that. Gary Frazier, Are You Ready? Talking about the rapture. Gary's been on the show. Claudia Koenig, who I totally want to talk to. I totally want to talk to her because she has a talk, and I heard it like when she gave it before. It's called How to Share Jesus with the Lost World, Urgent Last Days Evangelism. She's a highly intense person, at least in the speech I heard she give. Derek Gilbert, you hear his voice every day on this show. He's the voiceover for our show. He's going to be there. Ron Rhodes, one of the world's premier Christian apologists. He's been on our show numerous times.
At least.
Bob McGinnis, who, this sounds fun. The deeper state inside the war on Trump by corrupt elite, secret societies, and the builders of an eminent final empire.
Ooh, scary.
I know, it sounds fun though, doesn't it? And then Ken Johnson, the ancient Syrian war prophecy. Has Ken been on? I don't think so. And then, let's see, Pastor Billy Crone, I already tweeted his people, and they said I can get an interview with him. He's going to be on talking about why won't my pastor preach on prophecy? That's what his topic is. L.A. Marzulli, Fatima, Miracle of the Sun, or a Harbinger of Deception is his topic. And L.A. Marzulli has been on our show. I can't remember how many times. Gary Frazier, did I already mention him? I think I did. Jonathan Cahn, The Paradigm, his brand new book, The Ancient Blueprint That Holds the Mystery of Our Times. I'm hoping to get an autographed copy from him and interview him in person. He's the guy who wrote The Harbinger. He also wrote The Book of Mysteries, which we did in our book club for a long time. I just can't wait to talk to him. Michael Lake is going to be talking about overcoming the Babylonian Watchers Matrix.
Welcome back, Terica.
Huh?
I said, welcome back, Terica.
Oh, yeah. And then, let's see. I'm trying to see. David Hawking is going to be there as well, Pastor David Hawking. He's going to be talking about Israel and the promises of God, which should be very interesting. And, of course, Bill Salas, who actually not only sponsored our show, but has been on our show numerous times. He's going to be talking about the Zechariah 12 and Psalm 83 connection, which is going to be very interesting. And then Paul McGuire. I'm also looking forward to talking to Paul. Paul McGuire, if you don't know. Yes, thank you for that. Paul McGuire, I'm not sure if this is a book. It's called The Trump America Prophecy. But Paul is an expert. This guy has been a radio host in California, and his books are amazing, and he's amazing. So I'm looking forward to talking to him, too. And and Carl Teigrib, remember?
Yeah.
Carl Teigrib. Carl is from Forcing Change. He's from Canada. And I tell you what,
Saskatchewan, I think.
Yeah, he and his wife are coming down. And it'll be awesome to talk to him. And Randall Price will be there as well, talking about the search for the Dead Sea Scrolls. Jack Langford will be there, talking about the gap is not a theory.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be. And then Terry James has been on our show as well. He wrote a book called The Beast something. Beast Tech. Yeah. We had him on quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while.
And that's pretty much it.
Now, do we plan on doing a daily show or daily hour show, or do we want to do several throughout the day, just so we get an opportunity to short interview?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of doing the short interviews as we can, because, obviously we want to sit in on this. So, yeah. Well, we know like I said, we already know half the speakers, of this event. This is a big event. There's going to be 1,000 people coming to it, at least. And you guys can watch it online, actually. If you go to prophecywatchers.com, they have live streaming tickets you can get. I don't have a discount code this year. Last year I did, but only one person bought it, so they didn't offer it to me this year. I think they would have gotten more this year, just so you know.
Preacher Man 80. Welcome.
But yeah, so we're gonna have we're gonna meet a lot of cool. We're gonna meet our people that we have never met in person. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of that, I'd like to get better to decent hour to get up and hit the road. So we should start. A summary from us too. Okay. And family, I never know what to call you.
Yeah. What's your name?
We can call you Lovewell, but if that's thanks, Terica.
Yeah.
And Logan from BC is joined, and turn your phone. good idea, but most of us on Periscope are narcissistic and put ourselves on camera. Wendy.
Oh, Wendy. Okay.
Well, that's easy to remember. With family starts with a W, ends with a Y. So
We'll see how
Wendy
it goes.
starts with a W, ends with a Y.
Hi, Nacha. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So you guys know us. Just follow me on Twitter. We'll probably scope during the car ride there because it's a long car ride. Just saying, people. It's long.
Right.
I'm already feeling tired thinking about it. So
looking
anyway,
forward to it.
yeah, and of course we're going to be away from our animals, which we dropped off tonight. Sad face.
Yeah. I should have a bank of
Yeah.
emojis that I can overlay.
We actually are going to take snacks. I'm actually, right after I get off here, I'm going to go downstairs and I have 6 eggs left from the eggs that I have here. And since we're going to be gone a week, I'm going to hard boil those eggs and bring those with me as a snack. That's a good snack, right? Hard boiled eggs. So I'm going to do that after we get off here, and pack and do laundry, blah, blah, all that good stuff. And I am tired, actually. It's been a long day, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, and I played pickleball too, and I got almost 11,000 steps, I think.
Cheese sticks wrapped in bacon or
Yeah.
nuts.
I don't do well with nuts, except Randall. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Butter snack. True. Irish Skies. I like the name, Aaron's, and I'm trying to put your little comment there so I can bring up your profile, but it's not letting me. Anyway, when Irish skies are smiling. Anyway,
We got some, what do you call those grams?
Teddy Grahams.
Teddy grams. I bought Randall some Teddy grams. That's what he wanted.
That's my road snack.
And ginger snaps. So we got some ginger snaps. But I am going to be bringing eggs because that's actually...
That's not your real name. I figured it wasn't.
Through there. Okay.
So now Kinsella.
Okay. So we need to go now, people.
Yes, we do. All right, so
Just so you know.
cut to Stacy Solo.
Okay, so all that to say, thank you for tuning in. Glad that you guys were here. I don't know how many people came through the show. Let's see. 469 so far. That's not too bad. That's right. So be bold, everybody. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I need to wear one of my Bible News Radio shirts, don't I, huh? Definitely. All right, be bold, stand up, and go with God, and we will see you. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Before I go, I should tell you that we're still a little bit short on our fundraising for the trip. Like, we're still about $200 short. So if any of you guys want to, help us sponsor it, you can go to our PayPal account. Here, it's linked in there, and donate a couple
On the
dollars.
Periscope profile.
That would be super good. That would be super helpful to us. Just so you know, our pet boarding alone is like $500. True story. We have 3 animals. That alone is $500 for us to go. And we don't make that much money, just so you know. I know. It sucks. It really does suck. It does. Anyway, so if you are not a pillar of the community and you want to be one, though, you can donate $25 a month, become a pillar. We'll put you in our Facebook group, or if you just want to donate one time and help us out for this special need, then that would be good too. We on purpose didn't fly because it would have been 3 times as much to fly than it is to drive. So that's why it's taking us a lot longer. Because regardless if we flew or not, we still have to put our animals up. So, but anyway, so do what the Lord leads you to, and we will bring you Bible News Radio on the road from the car, Oklahoma, and who knows, maybe part of Arkansas too, because we're driving through Arkansas to get to Oklahoma. So, so now I can say, be bold, stand up, and go with God, because He loves you. And we'll see you tomorrow sometime during the day. I don't know when, but we will. We'll be in the car, though. We'll be driving. I'll be I'm driving, people. See you later.